Let's see if we can make it work. Are you monitoring the, okay, I thought so. All right, everybody hang on to something. We're getting ready to get on YouTube.
There we go. It's live.
Are we live? All right. All right, all right, all right. So, did Henry Ford not invent the automobile? Can you make fresh water from old tires? And is there really a patent for a corn dog? Well, these and other interesting topics we're going to be discussing tonight on a July edition of Corn Dog and Sprinkler and Sparklers Away edition of Inventor Friday. I'm Don Skaggs, your host. Before we get started, I do want to mention our sponsor who we're going to be talking about a little later tonight. And that is Windstream Kinetic. I have, hang on guys, not clicking on the right thing. We're going to fix that soon. So anyway, you definitely, if you have a business or you're starting a business, you really want to have several things. You need electricity, you need running water, but you need internet. And really not being on the internet and not having a good solid presence on the internet in the 21st century is like not having your name in the phone book in the 20th. And one of the great ways you could do that is through Windstream Kinetic. Windstream's our sponsor, and if you go to gokinetic.com, that is that's the website to go to. And really, they've got some great stuff. They have provided us with 1 gig internet here. This really makes our live stream possible, and it's wonderful. And so if you are needing a really good solid connection, if you're looking for that that really good cable that you need, that fiber optic that you need, I forgot the word. Then you want to definitely check out Windstream Kinetic, and that's gokinetic.com. Also, you want to check out our website. Our website is kyinventors.org. We've got all kinds of things going on. We've got some really cool things coming up in the near future, some really cool announcements. Can't talk about them yet, but I'm really squirming in my chair wanting to say something, but I can't. So stay tuned, watch for new announcements, new things we've got coming out. But in the meantime, if you don't want to miss a meeting, you can sign up for our email. We've got a lot of really good information. We've got a lot of good things going on. We've got upcoming events, and you can find all that out by getting on our mailing list. So again, go to kyinventors.org, and you can definitely check that out. Joining me to talk about all these topics and more is Drew Sutton. Drew, tell everybody who you are, what you're all about.
Hey, Drew Sutton. I do leadership coaching. I speak, I coach, I do workshops. I do all of those things. Before that, in a previous life, I used to be a chief engineer for a large company, 30 patents, so a bunch of inventions in my past. And I am now the accidental owner of a venture capital firm, as well as a global innovation summit that we're bringing here locally. So we'll hear about that later.
Accidental. She fell down a flight of stairs and whoops, hey, I'm trying to venture.
Just happened.
Also tonight with me is Leo York.
Hey, everybody. Copywriter, VP, assisting with the string this evening. Thanks. Glad to be here.
All right. Also with us tonight is Kirk Sellenberg.
Hey everybody, Kirk Sellenberg, inventor of Mini Grip and co-owner of Mini Grip. So glad to be here.
Cool. And also we have Jason Dudley.
Hello, Don. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me tonight. So my name is Jason Dudley. I'm here representing Kinetic. So we'll be talking a little bit about our fiber internet and what it can do for you.
Fantastic. All right. And also with us tonight, manning the cameras, making us all look good is Eugenia Kelly.
Good evening. My name is Eugenia Kelly. You can find me at eugeniakelly.com. I am a local inventor. During the day, though, I work in healthcare.
Healthcare professional by day, inventor by night.
Yes, that is.
That's almost like a superhero type thing. So, all right, good deal. Well, let's get started tonight. Let's talk about some innovations in history. And the first one that I want to talk about is July the 12th, 1932. A gentleman by the name of Otto Rohrweeder, I'm probably butchering his name, invents a machine that makes sliced bread. And get over to the website for that. There he is. So, I thought this was kind of interesting. So he comes up with he's a jeweler originally. He became a jeweler and the owner of 3 jewelry stores in St. Joseph, Missouri, and convinced he could develop a bread slicing machine. He sold his jewelry stores to fund the development and manufacture of these machines. So then I think it was 1930, the Continental Baking Company introduced Wonder Bread as a sliced bread, and kind of the rest is history. And it's hard for me to imagine that before that time, we didn't have sliced bread. And of course, there's the saying, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And that's where I guess that comes from. Just, yeah, interesting though, in the 1940s, they actually put a stop on it because of World War II. They'd actually stopped making sliced bread because, I don't know, what was it, an extravagance?
Probably.
So,
Probably needed to use that machinery for who knows what else. Yeah.
well, that's true. Maybe they were slicing something else. This is his patent. Kind of interesting. I guess is that the slicers?
Yeah,
I'm
it looks
seeing
like an
there?
overhead view.
Yeah.
Blades.
You really don't see a lot of change between patent drawings in 1932 and today. So, or even sometimes even in the wording.
The lack of innovation is ironic.
You're right. Very ironic. So let's see, do I have another one here? Yeah, sliced bread history. So, just trying to find the thing. Here we go. 1943, officials imposed a short-lived ban on sliced bread as wartime conservation measure. The ban was credited by Secretary so-and-so, who helped the food administrator. I'm trying to figure out why, is intended to counteract the rise in the price of bread. I can't imagine.
Like they're literally like the fact that it's gonna cost a little more just to have the sliced version, which is kind of funny now, because now you pay more for a baguette than you would for so that's the deal. Yeah.
I don't wonder if bread was as soft back then as it is today. I'm always thinking if you're slicing bread, it's one of those hard. I'm thinking more like a hard roll or one of those, really big homemade loaves.
I will say I have spent quite a few pounds of flour trying to perfect a good loaf of bread.
Oh, really?
Like it's one of it and donuts. Like you just kind of frustrate me because I can never make a good donut at home. And like occasionally, like every about a year and a half, I'll have enough brain space and enough time, and I'll just destroy my wife's kitchen, obsessing over some culinary thing that I can't make myself. Now I can go to Krispy Kreme and get a 10-cent donut, but I don't know why I can't make one. Right. So bread, if you talk to anybody if you go down the sourdough hole,
Oh
Mhm.
gosh.
man, there is a
Yeah.
long and deep dark hole there.
Yeah.
There's sourdough purists that you must make it this way.
It's
or-
like I know ladies who like share starter with each other,
Oh,
and
yeah.
name it, and it's
yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the yeast?
The bacteria that
And,
yeah, the wild
is it-
wild
is it-
And how many
fungus.
hours how many hours you wait until you stretch and fold it, and the number of times that you stretch and fold it, and whether you ferment it in the refrigerator to extend the time that you have between those stretch and folds. It determines how sour and how gummy the gluten becomes. It's a whole science, man.
Really?
It's like super fascinating.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I got a cool old story from my great grandmother, I want to say. The story was passed down and it says that she came over from the old Welsh country or wherever. And she would go out, the story is she would go out to the barn. She would find a spider web. She would take a piece of the spider web, then put it into the bread, and that would be like the yeast
That makes
that
sense.
would
Hey.
actually change it.
I can see it because the spider web's sticky
Exactly.
and it's collecting the spores from the air.
Yep,
Yep, I can see that. I can see
Isn't
that.
that wild?
Very.
Did she also milk the spider?
Goodness.
Oh, you never know.
It's like an almond. I don't know how you milk an almond. Like it's really.
Well,
soft.
yes. Isn't there like spider milking?
There
Don't they
is.
do
It's
that?
really weird, yeah.
Yeah, for anti-venom and stuff.
Yeah, well, actually, they're
For the-
making bulletproof vests and stuff.
Yeah.
Silk is insanely strong.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. Yeah, if you had a Hawaiian shirt made out of spider silk, particularly black widow silk, stop a bullet. Like it's insane. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That is wild.
See, now that's gonna be in my
Yeah.
head.
And how you, it's super easy. All you actually have to do is get something that rotates, like, a spool.
Yeah.
And put it right under their spinnerets and they start making it. It's weird.
And they just start, you just pull it all the way out.
Yeah.
Does the spider invert like a sock and like just unravel itself?
You, that's weird to think about. Snap.
That is wild. That is so wild. Kirk, you got any thoughts on this?
Bread.
I'd like to see his first prototypes. I think he was probably handy. I'd like to see.
You think? Yeah. Well, he came out with two. So there was one, and I wonder if the wartime thing where they shut him down had anything to do with it. I don't know. But there was two of these things, and the second one actually was maybe more or just as successful as the first one. So I wonder what modifications he made on that.
Yeah.
I would think that before we put all of the fake stuff that we put in bread today,
Yeah.
I wonder if when you sliced it, if it made it go bad faster.
That could have
I
played
suspect so, lack of preservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
more
Because it's-
surface
I hadn't
area.
thought about that.
Yeah.
The bread gets pretty crunchy. Like I said, I've multiple times have destroyed my wife's kitchen trying these projects out. And if you cut it open, there's no amount of putting the top of the bread back on. Like you kind of have to eat the bread.
I think that's even changed since the eighties to now, right? Let alone back when the slicing first started to occur, because you could buy a loaf of bread in the eighties and it would go bad or be moldy in just a matter of days. And now
Oh,
seems
yeah.
like it can stay out for a long time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got a lot
Leave it
more
out for
stuff in
weeks.
it. Well, funny
Yeah.
enough, the ban did not last long because people were furious. There's even an angry letter from this is a quote, distraught housewife. I should like to let you know how important sliced bread is to the morale and saneness of a household. My husband and 4 children are all in a rush during and after breakfast. Without ready sliced bread, I must do the slicing for toast, 2 pieces for each one, that's 10. For their lunches, I must cut by hand at least 20 slices for 2 sandwiches apiece. Afterward, I make my own toast. 22 slices of bread to be cut in a hurry, exclamation point. And then like literally months later, they were like, okay, you guys can have
Just because of her. Is that kind of like the Amazon review
I guess so.
version
today, yeah.
or of 1930?
Yeah, I
That's
guess so,
funny.
yeah.
I will say, I mean, excusing the phrase, like we have blocks, we buy the block of cheese, right? So as you're cutting the cheese, I have never once successfully achieved a parallel strike upon the
Ah.
cheese. And I imagine the same problem to be with the loaf of bread,
yeah.
yeah.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
if it was as soft as it is now, or even close to as soft, I would have to think it would be an engineering nightmare just to try to get.
Because it'd be so pliable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what yeah, we're agreeing.
Yeah.
So my wife makes banana bread, and so she makes banana bread and she makes zucchini bread, which are remarkably the same
Yes,
level of
Not to brag,
ingredients.
that interrupt, I made the best zucchini bread ever.
Ah.
Challenging her to a competition.
Okay, you gotta
Anyway, so-
bring some
So
now.
so she freezes this stuff occasionally, right? Because you can't make that much banana bread, the zucchini bread. So one day she only had one package of the zucchini and one package of banana, and she put it together. And so this is the question for the team. Did she make Zumana bread or did she make bikini bread?
Zucchini bread.
Bikini bread.
I think
I like
bikini
bikini
bread.
bread, yeah.
That's a little more catchy than.
Yeah. It's delicious, by the way.
Trippy.
So there you go.
So
Now
that-
your challenge is to
Nah,
make some
yeah,
bikini bread.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll bet he'll be doing that.
And if you take a little parchment paper and cut a bikini and put it on top, then you will truly have.
There we go.
Oh, that could be a trend.
Yeah,
Did you
that
see
sounds
that?
like one of those TikTok food things.
Yeah, yeah.
You do that before or after you bake it, so it has 10 lines.
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
definitely
go.
10 line.
Little parchment paper, got a tan line on it. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is so
Bikini
getting
tan
done somewhere. You have
My
done it
wife
now.
hates this joke. Like, she cannot stand the fact that I tell the story.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, this is gonna be a TikTok challenge. I can feel it. Oh, all right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see. July the 5th, 1927. No, wait, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. July 3rd, 1886. We're cranking back the Wayback Machine here. And on that date, let's find my share screen. There we go. Carl Benz invents actually introduces the first car. Now, the Benz patent motor wagon was built in 1886, widely regarded as the world's first automobile, which vehicle designed to be propelled by an internal combustion engine. The original cost was $1,000. I wonder what $1,000 in 1885 would be. I'm sure somewhere somebody's going to be
Probably
doing
would have been like-
looking that up. So that's a picture of it there. I don't know if that's quite as good a picture as one of these others. Let me find. There's somebody. Oh no, wait, that's Ford. That's not it. This one. Nope. I thought I had a better picture of it than that. Hang on. Lemelson. Nope.
You
that's
go
not
to the
it.
Wikipedia article for Carl Benz, at the bottom, it's, they got a good one.
I saw someone driving. It was pretty cool. Maybe it's this one.
Heck no.
No, that's not it.
That's way cooler than his old.
There it is.
There we go.
No, that's an automobile. So anyway, it kind of looks like a tricycle.
Yeah. It looks like a park bench with 3 wheels.
Yeah. Maybe it's down. No.
I mean, you can really clearly see the.
Oh, click
It's
to
at
the
that,
right.
that other
That's right,
image. You
yeah,
see it right
there
there.
it is.
There we go. All
There we
right,
go.
that's the one I was looking
You
for.
can see the inspiration of like carriages in that thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like a horse should be hitched to that pole.
Well, yeah, that begs the question: is this a motorized tricycle, or is it or is it really could be considered a car? The first automobile. Well, that's what they like to call it. So, what do you think? Does this qualify as a car?
I'm surprised the first thing that was motorized was not a horse carriage with 4 wheels.
Yeah.
I'm really
Well,
surprised.
the horse carriages weren't 3 wheels.
That's why
right,
I'm
yeah.
just shocked that it
I
wasn't
wonder
actually
why-
a horse carriage that was done first,
Yeah.
but as far as I'm concerned, that counts.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, imagine your paradigm back then. That's great. Maybe
Oh
it's a
my
little bit of a
gosh.
bicycle
I
got going on there
I
too.
think I know what the pole was for. I think that's to park it. It's like with a tractor, where you put the machinery against the ground, you turn it and it lowers. It's the park, that pole with a crank
This-
on top, right
That's the
there.
steering wheel.
That's the, no,
Yeah.
surely not.
That's how you steer.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh,
Oh,
it
it
is.
is a steering wheel.
There's no wheel.
So this is the
That's
accelerator,
weird.
and that's the steering
Yeah,
wheel.
I was thinking you cranked it and it lowered through the floor and,
Oh,
Now, that's another invention.
yeah.
yeah, that was the next model, maybe.
So trippy.
That is wild.
It
Well,
actually
now we also kind of know why it has one wheel instead of two.
Mhm.
Makes that easier.
looks pretty efficient too, not too heavy, not
What do
too
you think
bulky.
big flywheel that's horizontal is for? Is that
I
a gear?
was
for a
wondering
plane?
that. I wish we could see this. a
Or is
little-
that
oh,
a-
wait, large?
Cause a
photo.
Stirling engine needs a big flywheel. If that's a Stirling engine, maybe it's the flywheel, but
I wonder if
otherwise
that-
it's a drive shaft, maybe.
I think it's probably a drive shaft on there. I have to believe that's what it is. Cause it almost looks like it goes down to where your chain's at on the very bottom, cause it's standard chain driven. It's built like almost a combination of a bicycle and
Yeah.
a two-wheeled horse carriage.
It's a, yeah, I think of it as a tricycle with a motor on it.
Do we know if they had like an actual like housing over the inner parts? And this is just to show the inner workings or?
I bet they didn't.
That's a
man.
good
I don't think they
question.
did.
This
Wow.
is
I don't think OSHA
Yeah,
existed.
there-
Yeah.
I think we're just cold human race and people understood how things work. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these others. Yeah, that is all,
Exposed.
that's all exposed there.
Trippy.
Yeah.
I don't know though, like if
Display.
I had made that, I'd want to show it off.
That's fair.
Well,
Right?
that's true. See all the moving parts.
Yeah.
So, wow.
9-figured Ned. Let me show you my.
So this here comes from the Ford website. And it says a common myth is that Henry Ford invented the automobile. I kind of grew up thinking that. It says this is not true. While he may have not invented the automobile, he did offer a new way of manufacturing a large number of vehicles. This method of production was the moving assembly line. So, and I've always heard stories about how he like failed the first time and he failed the second
that's what I
time with
heard,
the company. And it was always the parts manufacturers that gave him all kinds of grief. No, we won't sell you the parts. And he finally just bought the parts manufacturing and then assembled itself. I almost wonder if maybe that's where that came from.
Yeah, I think it's also easier for a child to, because that's when we all hear the stories of Henry Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think a child understands, oh, he made the automobile.
Yeah.
Because if you explain to the child the nuances, no, he invented the moving assembly line. Kids are like, what? are
What's
you
a moving
talking about?"
assembly line? So speaking of which, there it is. No, that's the same one. So yeah, when I saw three-wheel, I absolutely gravitated to this. So I actually saw this in I want to say Danville, Kentucky.
There's
the
a couple
other
in
day.
Georgetown.
Is there a couple in
Yeah.
Georgetown? So it's a tricycle, three wheels. It's turned around, but I don't think that's what they had in mind when they were making the Benz motor wagon in 1885.
Well,
But that looks a little more like the
so the
Batmobile.
problem with a three-wheel, so a four-wheel is very stable, and a two-wheel is actually pretty stable. Like because when you go around a curve and you roll over, the vehicle is just pivoting upon its wheel.
Mhm.
But a three-wheel device wants to act like a motorcycle in a turn, but then it now has a rigid chassis. So the suspension, being able to independently suspend the wheels, is actually like a big enabler for. So the like 1881, that you couldn't go very fast in that wagon.
Right.
But so I think it's called a Spider.
Oh, the Polaris.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So if you look at the suspension, you can get the tilt in it. Like there's a whole lot of suspension going on.
Oh.
So the center of gravity of the person in the vehicle can twist. So in 2005, I had a guy. So 2005, Detroit basically went bankrupt, like the whole city. And a guy came down from Detroit and worked with me, and so he like spent his whole life in auto manufacturing. And the tricycle, the motorbike, you can't have multiple people, you can't carry a large load. It's just really for playing around, right, and for really really cool shots in a movie. But if you want something that you can do in the rain, the three-wheel comes up, and then the three-wheel's problem is the tilting. And so a number of companies have done the tilting thing, but it just never catches on.
Interesting.
And that's why that's not That's why when it comes out, it's mostly a toy.
It's
Or-
right, because a four-wheel is more stable, and if you pop a tire on a four-wheel, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If you pop a tire on a three-wheel.
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
massive deal.
remember that.
Oh,
yeah. So the three-wheel is just kind of like, everybody wants it to work, and so every generation there's a spider, but
Mhm.
it never catches because it's just a toy.
Well, in our inner circle, Stephen calculated the math and it's 34 grand. It's not bad at all.
No,
A modern
that's
car,
not-
a modern car is more expensive than the first car when it came out.
I mean, it doesn't have a backup camera though.
Neither do I, but still. Snap. Oh, gosh, that is wild.
It doesn't even have a roll-up window.
That's true.
Great calculation.
Yeah, it is a convertible at least. So
It is a
it's got
convertible,
I
yeah.
think that was just the introductory sale price because there were so many people that were skeptical about it. Thought maybe the automobile was a fad.
Yeah,
That makes-
oh yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Scare the horses, right?
And that doesn't cost any insurance.
That's really weird to think about, the pre-existing that. It's always
Yeah.
been around, time immemorial.
Interesting. All right, well, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, this is the fun one. July the 5th, 1927, Stanley Jenkins files a patent application for a corn dog machine. And we actually got some pretty cool pictures on this.
I feel like we should take a moment of silence for that gentleman.
Well, I want to know why it was July the 5th. So he filed it on July the 5th. It wasn't, I don't think it was patented on the July
That's
5th.
because he took his family. to
They
the
were
corn dog.
closed, they were closed on July 4th.
Yeah,
I think he just had to cook 700 corn dogs for his family that day.
yeah. That's highly possible. So, let's see. He pioneered a brave new wiener world in which hot dogs are coddled lovingly in delicious cornmeal batter and bathed in hot oil, a treatment befitting royalty. So this was he was a businessman, a civic leader, and part-time inventor from Buffalo, New York. And he invented a machine that made corn dogs.
So wait, does that mean that there was no corn dogs before this guy? Or did
I
he make a
know,
machine
actually, he just made the machine,
that made it better?
but made it better,
okay.
or could mass produce it. I think they've been doing it since like the 20s. But he was trying to turn it into, as a matter of fact, let's look at the patent. So again, filed on July the 5th, 1927. So this is his patent again, the drawings.
It's a
Yeah,
classic.
no innovations in the drawings, are there? You'd think we'd have like 3D drawings now for patent applications, but anyway. So this is the drawing of it. And let me find the verbiage on this too. Nope. There it is. So I've discovered that articles of food such, for instance, as wieners, boiled ham, hard-boiled eggs, cheese, sliced peaches, pineapples, bananas, fruits, cherries, grape, figs, strawberries, when impaled on sticks and dipped in a batter. He was kind of ahead of his time on this,
Yeah.
which includes all the ingredients from self-rising flour into a deep fried in a vegetable oil at a temperature of about 390 degrees. Resultant food product, it sounds so patenty. The resultant food product on a stick or a handle is a clean, wholesome, and tasty refreshment.
Wow.
He proudly wrote in his patent
Kudos to
application.
him for being broad with his language. I mean,
Yeah.
he included,
That's true.
yeah, I mean,
No,
he just threw everything out.
No, he
Yeah.
specifically avoided the whole peach.
Yeah.
He said sliced peaches.
That's true, yeah.
So if you want a whole peach on a stick, hey.
That's still open territory.
Yeah. That is wild. So yeah, let me go back to this. He early 1940s for all versions of corn dogs began to appear almost simultaneously in far corners of the country. So he never really made let me find him here again. because there was a really interesting piece on this about, he never really made corn dogs. He just built the machine. That was just it. So
You gotta respect a guy that knows his calling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I don't make food, I just make machine.
do you think he'd have made more money selling corn dogs, using the machine than selling the machine?
Based on the price that I paid for a hot dog at my last Disney trip, probably made more money selling hot dogs.
Do they sell corn dogs at
Actually, I don't know.
Right.
I feel like it'd be Mickey Mouse eared if they did.
Oh, you know they'd
I
have
could see
to.
that, yeah.
I could so see that.
I mean, given transportation back then, probably just in terms of his return, it would have made more sense to sell the machine to all over than to be situated in one place frying the
Well,
corn
that's true.
dogs. So, yeah, trippy. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think too many people outside of the US really know about this. It's kind of like peanut butter sandwiches. You know what I mean?
Wait,
No,
what?
nobody outside the country really knows what a corn dog
It's
is.
not like a thing, you know? I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but I don't think it's like, I don't think you could go to England or Hungary or something and be like, where do you guys get corn dogs? They'd probably look at you like we're crazy, right? No?
So when you go to Japan, and,
They call them American dogs, and it's literally like.
They call them American
They call
dog?
them American dogs, and it's like a symbol of America. It's like the stars and stripes, yeah.
so do they have like American restaurants?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
so it's like
theatrical,
American.
sparklers and Uncle Sam hats and yeah, pizza with French fries on it, because we gotta have both at once, apparently. Yeah, it's bizarre.
So it's just like a little bit off. It's like
Yeah.
their vision of.
It's
what
like
American
amusement
food.
park version of America, yeah.
I feel like I want to go to this restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, it's worth checking out. It's worth sitting on a plane for 14 hours, not
Just to go to that restaurant.
Just to sit there and look at a mirror.
There you go.
Oh,
Little
God.
Funhouse mirror.
What do you think, Kurt?
It's making me hungry.
Yeah.
I like a good corn dog.
I mean, my wife makes me go to the state fair every year to get her a state fair corn dog, like a
Really?
fresh, like corn dog. Yeah, yeah.
And an elephant ear?
No,
She did
actually,
the elephant
no,
ear thing.
I do the elephant ear, like for the kids, of course, for the kids. And
Just for
but
the-
no, she does it for the corn dog. It's like it's nostalgia thing for her, and they're also delicious. Like
Oh,
a state fair corn dog is so much better than like the Costco corn dog, mass produced that you buy. Yep.
Steven in the inner circle says his first food poisoning ever was from a corn dog in Japan.
Oh, no.
That is so funny. What are the chances?
Japanese corn dog.
A Japanese corn dog.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, they ship it all the way over.
That hot dog was in the package a long time.
Oh, gosh. Why do you think you think there was any significance to filing it on the day after 4th of July?
Mm.
Because it's become such a 4th of July
Yeah.
icon.
I don't know, maybe he had free time on the 4th to
Yeah.
file it. It takes time to get everything.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a
Yeah,
coincidence.
probably just, yeah.
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 Probably so. All right, well, let's put away let's go fast forward into the present. And let's talk about Lululemon. Lululemon is suing Costco for selling knockoff clothing. And let me pull that up. Because this is kind of an interesting story, and it's got a lot of little facets to it. There we go. So Lululemon is suing Costco for allegedly ripping off clothing designs. Now, if you're not familiar with Lululemon, they sell a lot of like
Yoga.
pants.
yoga pants for women.
And stuff. Yep.
So Canadian athletic wear maker, I didn't know they were out of Canada. Lululemon sued Costco in federal court for the wholesaler sells knockoff sweatshirts, jackets, and pants, and that unlawfully copy its products. It says Costco dupes violate their patent and trademark rights in its clothing designs, likely to confuse I thought that was an interesting word there, confused potential customers. Um. So
I don't think anybody's confused. Like zero.
you
people are
think,
confused.
you think if you go to Costco that they're gonna be confused about, okay, I'm buying Lululemon or I'm not, or?
Pretty unlikely, yeah.
I think everybody knows what Lululemon is versus Costco. Though I had a friend explain to me Costco clothing. He said, in your 20s, you say, did you realize Costco makes clothes?
Hmm.
And in your 30s, all of your pants are Costco pants. And in your 40s, all of your pants and shirts are Costco clothes. And in your 50s, you're like, why didn't you buy Costco clothes? And like I'm wearing half Costco at the moment, so yeah.
Your spokesman for Costco.
Yeah, I think I love Costco stuff. I think it's exactly the level that I need. Like it's great function. It doesn't look bad. You know, you go to the Walmart brand and sometimes it's just like that's Walmart brand.
Yeah.
But the
Oh,
Costco
yeah.
stuff's solid, it's cheap, it fills a niche.
Well, and I'm looking at this from two different perspectives. I'm like, okay, if you're Lululemon and I don't know if Costco was selling Lululemon before, because I've seen this sometimes, especially like Sam's Club place.
Oh,
It's like we will sell the Joe Blow brand of whatever widget it is, and then it's successful. You know, Amazon does this too. They're probably even worse. And then
and they get the supply chain back in, and then they just
yeah. Then they just do an oh, we're not gonna sell your stuff anymore. Sorry. Oh, we've got a new one we're coming out with, and it's looks remarkably like yours. So I was just wondering if they had a
I'll be honest, their $5 chicken is swaying my judgment. I vote that they're innocent. That's my.
do they have
official
corn dogs
position.
at Costco? That's my next question. They have hot dogs at Costco.
What do you guys think?
I think if the cut is similar, then it might be appealing to buy the clothing. If they put the logo in the same place, it made it a circle with a little Kirkland's K or something, it made the logo look the same,
Yeah.
then I think they're getting close. So it depends. I think it's a fitness brand, so women are gonna know the cuts and the seams, and maybe if it's close, it might be worth trying. I
Mhm.
mean, some of those they're really nice, but if the logo's there, then I'm like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah, if it's causing, because I know that the big trademark thing is if the big wording, especially trademarks, and I almost wondered if maybe this was more of a trademark case, but I found out later it's not. But within trademarks, if it causes confusion in the marketplace, and my big example of this I always use is UPS has literally trademarked the color brown that you see on that ugly color brown on all the trucks.
Yeah.
If you say that brown, that's UPS. If I open a flower shop and it's got that color, I can trademark it. That's okay because it's in a different industry. It's not
Right,
causing
it's not causing
confusion in the marketplace. But if I start to ship those flowers, then I'll probably get a cease and desist letter from somebody. But
Well, I think that's a piece of it is you have to defend your trademark. If you
Yeah.
go a certain period of time without defending your trademark or your patents, then they're kind of basically null for it.
Kids
So-
get mad at Disney over that. They're like, I can't believe they're suing some daycare in Mexico City. And it's like they have to. Like they
Right.
can't just let
And
it
they
go
can
away.
settle out of court for $1,
Exactly.
but they
Yeah.
have to
Go
litigate.
after it.
The other thing I would want to know, which I don't know, but if by coincidence they're sourcing the clothes out of the same factory that it's being
That was my
made with,
suspicion.
then I would be a
Yeah,
little more
that could
inclined to say this
be-
is a little close.
yeah,
There's certain, if you want purses, there's a place to go to get sourced for that. If you want bags, you go here.
because yeah,
Injection
kind of like that.
molding,
Yeah.
pins in. Who
Uh-huh.
knows where they sourced it, and if it's out of the same factory, then that might be why.
So during the day shift they were making Lululemon, and during the night shift they're making the Costco off brand.
Yeah,
Maybe,
it's very
unless maybe it's all
common.
done in Canada, in which
Yeah.
case, that wouldn't be the case, but I would say there's probably a little more to it than just.
Yeah, I think it's the
coincidence.
material is what Lululemon is known for. It's the butterfly material.
So I kind of did a deep
Good point.
dive on this and,
Ah.
because it really intrigued me about this. And I looked up and I thought, well, are these design patents or are they, so come to find out, there's 346 patents that I've just found on a search of as an assignee who's, the person who owns the patent. Lululemon America or Athletica Canada. And then I found this article that shows the stats. Lululemon Athletica has a total of 925 patents. 661 has been granted. 78% of the patents are active. And then I was wondering about how much of them are design and utility. These patents belong to 400 unique families. Oh, they've got this somewhere, I know. I saw this. I think, is it 20? No, that's the active, inactive. But a lot of those were utility patents. And I thought,
Really?
how do you
Yeah.
make yoga pants with, well, here's one, patent, whatever, discloses a bioluminescent composition using luciferin,
Oh, yeah, luciferin. That's
luciferin.
what makes lightning bugs glow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So so they've got all these different patents, and I doubt Costco's making that, but
Yeah.
there was some with smart clothing. Yeah, I can kind of see that too. But again, I wonder if it's maybe the clothing or the oh, there's something else here. Because the one thing I was really interested in was the fact that I thought, oh, these are all design patents, because it's, you can't have a utility patent on a shape of a clothing, but apparently now they've got a lot of those. But they had a lot of the other ones too.
That's true.
Yeah, totally
They
wild.
got some creative lawyers in there.
Oh, they do. And I thought I found this, came across this article. It's real interesting. U.S. jury finds Lululemon athletic shoes violate Nike's patent rights.
Oh.
So federal court awarded 355,000. Not a whole lot.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
To Nike as a reasonable royalty on Lululemon sales. Yeah, it's pocket change for those guys. Uh, so yeah.
Oh, that's probably the bribe amount for the New York judge.
Yeah. You think?
I don't know which judge it was. I'm not
Yeah,
particular.
right.
Alleged.
Yeah, allegedly. So yeah, I mean, so what do you think? Can you think they have a case for this? What do you think, Jason?
I suspect they do. I think one of the things that you guys discussed a few moments ago about protecting your image and protecting your brand, there was some references made to, small mom and pop kind of practices, right? Well, in the references that we've seen here, it's been Lululemon and Nike, Lululemon and Costco, and that seems to step up the game a little bit, right? It's
Yeah.
a different scenario there. So I feel like they probably got a case on this one.
What do you think? Kurt?
Utility, it's claims only. That's the only thing you can,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
use, and then if then it's customs that's enforcing it. On the design, I think again, it's basically the design. So I would have to see the design patterns that they have. I don't know that's why I talked about the logo, like if they're trying to make the logo in the same place. and make it
Yeah.
appear, maybe,
They
but
glance at it, it's this little blurry thing. Oh, it must be a little of that.
but I don't know
I'll
if
go
you can do placement unless you have that somewhere. So they may not have something solid to stand on. I'd have to see.
Yeah.
I really would want to understand why they're why they're enraged at first to begin with, because it sounds
Yeah.
like there's something there.
It's sales,
It sells.
right? I would think that Costco, when they come get their chicken and their corn dogs,
Oh,
Hey, if they are
it's a,
these copies,
it would be a worthy opponent.
start standing that.
I still want to know if Costco ever sold Lululemon.
That's a good, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah, if they did, then yeah, I think they'd have a stronger case. In case. Of course, Amazon gets away with that on a daily basis,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see, we've got one more here. Robots relocate a building. Yeah, this one's kind of cool. And I'm not gonna make the mistake of not optimizing share my sound for this one, because you're gonna wanna see this and hear this, I think. And there we are. Optimizing my sound has messed up something.
I think that happened last time. I think
It
it has,
did happen last
I think
time.
it has something to do with the, TV speaker and this speaker on its own.
Yeah,
Do I need to delete, do I need to,
You could try muting and see what happens.
okay. So let's just tell them and make sure they know if they can't hear us to let
yeah,
us
if you
know.
can't hear us,
Exactly.
then send us a message, let us know. Um,
It's on.
there we go. Can you hear us now? Nod your heads. There you go. Thank you. But yeah, that's was kind of interesting. Um, so what do y'all think think this was worth it? Think it's worth it to move a building like that? I wonder what it cost.
Yeah, that's my big question.
I think not having to tear down a building, like waste removal of a building, like we just cleaned out our closets, right? We just like took the kids' clothes, another 15 and they've gone 6 inches.
Yeah.
Like, that was a hassle. Right? You go down to London, there's some people that are moving their houses.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like the mess, a mess. So yeah, moving the house and not having to tear it down and deal with all the asbestos and all the, yeah, I think not having to throw away however many metric tons of rubble, I think it's worth it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
interesting.
But I think before we did it more with humans, right?
Yeah,
Because I remember them moving buildings in my hometown when I was a teenager versus this is robotic,
Yeah.
right?
It almost seems like a scenario where the question of whether or not this is worth it doesn't come down to the economics. It's almost one of those things where it's like, can we even do this? Can we move a building of that size, that far away, using these tiny little robots? And so maybe there's some intrinsic value in just proving that you can actually do it and that you have the ability.
you know, not too far from here, a few months ago, there was this huge farmhouse across Nicholasville Road, which is south of Lexington.
The barn,
And
the barn.
the barn, it was a barn. That was it. It was a huge barn. And they moved it across the road. Was that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they
That's
had,
awesome.
they had to change the electricity lines, had to move it. It was a big deal.
wow. So, and I was shocked to see him move it. I mean, it was like down a long driveway and like a barn sitting out in the field. So, but I don't think they use this though.
Right, they used humans.
Humans.
That's what we've always done. That's why I think that's the point of this was robots. And to your point,
A barn's one thing, but like a city block, something like that, I can see this being. really
Enormous.
useful. Yeah, exactly.
And the historic preservation. maybe,
Yes, me too, yeah.
Yeah. I could totally see that. So I've seen Amish move a building
Yeah.
by, they all lift it up and walk with it. So could you classify these guys or these robots as Amish robots?
It depends on if they're pneumatic or electric.
Good. That was great.
Well, then,
Okay.
Can I-
That was the best comeback tonight.
can I interject something here?
Yes.
Yep, real quick.
Those robots are gonna require being set up, brought to the site. You got people doing that, plus repair. So you've got quite a field opening up in the repair, small robotics repair system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, the advent of the car didn't kill the blacksmiths, it let mechanics
Yeah,
exist, so, yeah.
true.
Yep.
Interesting. All right.
And electric cars is opening up the ability to bury used batteries.
Yeah, there you go. Sign me up.
Right. So, all right. Well, let's see. Last but not least, we have a story on used tires that can desalinate water. And let's pull that up. Take a look. So used tire, and funny, we were talking about this earlier behind the curtain, early inner circle folks. Used tire based solar desalinization tech makes 3.6 liters of drinking water daily. Now, doesn't sound like a lot to me, but I guess this is for a person use. So researchers at Dalhousie University have developed a low-cost solar-powered water desalinization device. This water device utilizes the power of the sun, purify seawater, making it's designed to be portable, easy to use, and ideal for remote and underserved communities. So basically, they make these plasmonic TIC nanoparticles, and I guess they're reflecting because they're let's see if we can get a little more intel on this. Solar technology is inspired by refractory plasmonics, a field focused on creating nanomaterials that can efficiently harness and convert light into heat. These materials, particularly effective in harsh conditions, are crucial for the solar still's ability to desalinate water efficiently. Ocean water is drawn to the foam's surface by a wicking system and evaporated by solar heated plasmonic materials. The purified water vapor rises, condenses on the transport dome, then flows down the sides into a sealed collection bag, leaving the salt behind. So, interesting. Said the device generated 3.67 liters of fresh water each day during the test in Halifax Harbor. So they used, I guess they're used to using gold and silver for these plasmonic materials, and now they're doing it with tires. So various carbon waste materials such as coffee grounds, lobster shells, birch wood residue tested, but I guess the rubber, the tires were a top performer. So that begs the question, do you, number one, would you drink this water?
Yeah, it's distilled water, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, this isn't that different from like 2,000 years ago, though. Like Julius Caesar and his men, like when they would, raid a beach type area, they would dig little pits and put, a brass lid over it and let it desalinate the water. This is just that, but faster because they've got state-of-the-art stuff. So it's kind of,
Wow.
it's a little weird because it's like, I don't know, it feels like Bronze Age tech, but just with nicer material.
It does solve an issue with recycling though.
That's
Yes.
true, that's a good point.
Well, true.
Tires.
Yeah.
This made me think of something I saw a few years ago where they were taking these 4-inch diameter black balls and throwing them on like water
Mhm.
I
reservoirs.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so those were designed to prevent algae bloom and help minimize evaporation. It almost feels like a happy accident that spurred from that trial, maybe. I don't know.
I can see
Mhm.
that, yeah.
They certainly seem related.
Yeah, those are hypnotic, the videos of them,
Yeah.
because like if the wind blows, the way the water underneath.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's really cool, yeah.
That's wild. I don't think I've seen that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
It literally just agitates the water.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Like, it's the same principle as that little bead in a spray paint, but.
And it was one of those things where the original intention was to solely prevent evaporation, but it also, kind of agitated the water to prevent algae growth. And it also warmed up the average water temperature in the reservoir, which helped kill off some things in there from a bacteria perspective as well. So there was all kinds of positives that came from that.
Wow. It's interesting. Yeah. So you think this would work at a large scale, or you think this is just for a lot of small scale?
I think you get a lot of salt. I mean, you let it run for long enough and it's gonna build up a bunch of salt. I don't know how you get rid of that. I
Well,
mean,
that's true.
Sell it. You know, artisanal, homemade,
Artisanal.
used tire. salt.
locally made.
Yeah.
Tire
You can salt the road a bit, just to bring a closed loop to the
There you go,
situation.
perfect.
Ship it up north and use it to salt the roads. Oh,
I don't know how big, so they're like, oh, it creates 3.6 liters of water, which is enough for a person and a half, depending on what you're doing.
yeah.
But does it take, I mean, is it the size of this table or is it the size of this ring light?
Yeah.
So 3.6 liters is maybe not impressive or maybe impressive. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I was under impressed when I read it. I thought, okay, you're not doing this on an industrial scale.
Right, right.
But is it, okay, I'm lost in the ocean and this came with my inflatable raft
Right.
and I can use this to drink and survive and so I don't know. And then the nanoparticle thing kind of got, I mean, I guess they perfected this. I just wouldn't want them to say, some contents of the water you're drinking may contain nanoparticles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my only drawback to that, so, all right, well, let's move on, and I would like, it's now time to, feature our featured inventor, and tonight we have with us none other, I think I surprised you, sorry. This Bev, and Bev, I'm going to butcher your last name probably, I'm really good at butchering people's last names.
It's Paria.
Maria, okay.
Maria.
Then, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And I actually had heard about you first from your manufacturing partner that we've got another client that we're working with, Stitch Kentucky,
Yes.
down in Liberty, Kentucky. So it was great to connect with you and learn about it. And I got to watch him making your product.
Oh, great.
When I was there visiting, and I was so impressed. I thought I have got to reach out to this person.
Yeah, I haven't been down in a while.
Yeah, well, it's they're still making your stuff, so
Yes, we get shipments weekly.
that's fantastic. So tell us your story. How'd you come up with your idea?
Well, as often happens out of a personal need. I'm one half of Bandy. I have a business partner. We co-created the product. Her name is Beth. She had a prior obligation, so she couldn't be here tonight. But I was between jobs. My background is in the apparel industry and consumer products and brand management and product development. And Beth had been a stay-at-home mom, but had a prior career in the film industry and video and sound. And yeah, we were taking my oldest son and her youngest son to junior high orientation, and they had known each other since preschool soccer days. And we just started chatting, and her kids were older, and she was looking for something to keep her busy. Like I said, I was between jobs. We started having coffee and just thought of personal need. And it was, believe it or not, it was in the early days of cell phone use, when the phones were still small, mostly flip phones. And especially in women's clothing, there are very few pockets. And if there are pockets, they're quite small. So that's the runner. I walk a lot. I used to put my phone in the waistband of my pants, and I would put money in my shoe on my walks. And all of the products in the market were really more masculine and quite bulky, with zippers and really clunky buckles, just not very sleek or attractive. So we settled on solving that problem as our mission. And around my dining room table, we created Bandy. So we wanted a product just very sleek, simple to carry a phone and other small personal items that someone could feel good about wearing, but also was not super noticeable when you were wearing it.
Wow, wow.
So we just celebrated our 13-year anniversary.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
Hey.
13 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you literally came up with this around a coffee table.
Yes. We started, actually, it started with a headband, a piece of spandex fabric. And we thought, well, how can the fabric seems to work. How can we take this concept, but make it into a product that could hold a phone, a small wallet, a little cash, maybe a single house key. So yeah, and then since then, of course, we've expanded to skirts with pockets. We have ball bands. We have a tubular style belt that you slip into. The original belt is adjustable and it buckles on and off. And then we also have sun protection. So really just looking to simplify women's lifestyles with products that are unique and useful.
So you really expanded your product line after you gained a foothold in the marketplace, looks like.
Yes. Well, our products are built to last. So at some point, a woman can only use so many Bandy belts. So yes, we wanted to offer similar products to our existing consumer base.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and it was always really important to us to manufacture in the United States. In my background and my history, I've worked with many factories overseas, and those partnerships can be great, but they can also be quite stressful.
Yes,
and as a small business, self-funded, at the point we were in our lives, we just wanted to keep things simple and manageable. We knew that we wouldn't be able to start with a large inventory. We also knew that we wanted a wide variety of prints, and that would not have been possible had we been importing. We also wanted to be able to react very quickly to sales. So manufacturing in the US just made a lot of sense.
Oh yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah.
At what point did you get with the one product before you made the decision to expand your line, and what kind of drove that?
Well, we did start with two products. The first one, you flashed up the website, but I have a product here. So the first product was the belt with the pocket, and we have a design patent on the construction of this pocket. So there's a fold, and then you flip it back, and the pocket is constructed with a divider. So you can separate. The early prototypes just had a single pocket, but we found that when we took our phones out, our credit card came flying out with it. So we added a divider, and there's just a lightly structured piece of interfacing, so it also keeps the fabric from scrunching down and getting twisted. The other great thing is It is on and off with it's a sleek, low profile buckle, and it's
Oh.
also adjustable. So we started with this style, but also a tubular style. And we weren't too surprised that the adjustable style sold much better than the style that you had to choose your size with. But we did keep both styles, and we were probably just a couple of years into our business when we realized there was a market, because the fabric is the same, for headbands and scrunchies. But it was only within the last couple of years that we added the sun protection and the pocketed skirt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what was the hardest part of the whole journey for you?
Finding customers.
That always
Finding
is,
customers, the
right?
age-old problem. You've got a great idea, a great product. How do you reach people? From the beginning, we knew that we wanted to work in as many channels as possible. So from day one, we had a website. We were selling on Amazon. We sold wholesale. So I attended trade shows and everywhere, New York, Atlanta, Las Vegas, LA, Dallas, Miami, all over. We also did a lot of direct to consumer events. So we would set up booths at holiday markets, golf outings, definitely running events, marathons. And the business has shifted. In the early days, the wholesale segment of the business was quite large. And then as e-commerce grew, of course, and then COVID hit, the wholesale part of the business shrunk, and the e-commerce part of the business has grown. We also, about 8 years ago, partnered with the Grommet and also with Good Morning America.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're on their deals and steals, usually 2 or 3 times a year.
That's
So
fantastic.
anywhere we can find a customer, we're happy to go after them.
Did you find that your partner that was in TV and radio was helpful for was that background?
We're really good balance. Yeah. So my background was more in developing products, sourcing, production planning, and her background in video and sound enabled her to, it saved money, especially in the beginning. And we still do a lot of our own photo shoots, and she edits a lot of the videos. And then marketing decisions are jointly made, but we outsource, our email blasts and our social media marketing now. So yeah, we've been a really good fit. We balance each other well.
It's really good to have a partner that just contrasts your strengths instead of just
Exactly. Yeah, we were very lucky in that way.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
so if someone is interested and they want to buy a bandy belt or one of the many other things that you have, where do they go?
It's bandywear.com, bandiwear.com.
Oh,
Is
that's
our website. And then we do sell on Amazon, and we also sell on the Grommet.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, Bev, thank you so much, and congratulations for 13 years, starting at
Thank
a
you.
coffee table.
Yes.
And let's all give her a hand.
Yeah.
This is from someone who swore she would never have her own business. I knew the pitfalls, and I didn't want to go there. But when this fell into place, we knew we just had to do it. So never say never.
Never say never. That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
so true. Well, I'm glad that you did. I'm glad you made that
Yeah.
decision, and that you've done great with it, sounds like. So we appreciate you being here
Yeah.
and sharing your story.
Thank you.
I hope we get to have you back.
Absolutely.
All right.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it.
I do have some questions.
Oh,
for her.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
definitely.
And she can
do
talk
some
more about her
questions.
manufacturing with Stitch Kentucky,
Yeah.
That's a
selecting fabrics and
Mhm.
all of that.
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Could you hear that?
Well, yeah, I source all of the fabrics. I have a few suppliers that I used. I believe they're all LA based, but the base for the printed fabrics, the base fabric does come from China, but the fabric printers bring in the fabric, and then it is now printed in either Los Angeles or Portland, depending on who I use. So I make those purchases and then have the fabric shipped to Stitch, Kentucky, along with all of the other components and raw materials. The buckles I have an amazing supplier in Taiwan. For the woven labels, we work with a domestic supplier, and their manufacturing, it depends. Sometimes it's US, sometimes it's overseas.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but Stitch Kentucky houses all of the raw materials and fabric inventory. They do all the manufacturing. They ship it here to Cincinnati, and we warehouse everything and ship from here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You gotta love that when you got a good handle on your supply chain, it sounds like.
It's been a great fit. We couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions in the chat or anybody here? Or...
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
So, how do you run the business on a day-to-day level? So as an inventor, you're interested in the product, you're interested in your customers, but getting it done, how do you sit down with your team and how do you run the business on a day-to-day?
We have a pretty slim staff. I handle like I said, production planning, raw materials, the wholesale part of the business. My business partner handles the direct-to-consumer e-commerce business. Marketing is a joint decision. We have someone who handles customer service, packing and shipping. We have a bookkeeper, an accountant, and we outsource most of our e-com or social media marketing and our email marketing. We're a small staff.
But so do you make decisions as needed, or do you guys set up like a strategy and kind of push that strategy?
A little of both. Obviously for production planning, we look at sales and trends, and so I have to do that in order to work with the factory and plan production and give them estimates so they can plan also raw material purchases. Getting an idea, like Good Morning America is quite a large part of our business, so we try to partner with them as far in advance as possible so that can be planned, because you can't just turn a switch on and make that production happen. That has to be planned for. But you also have to be able to react. And because we're manufactured 3 hours from here and we have a great team at Stitch Kentucky, we're able to react pretty quickly to what's happening.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
Donna had a quick question as well.
Yeah.
So Bev, obviously, we've got a vested interest in Kentucky and in rural economy, if you will. So tell us about the early days of the relationship with Stitch Kentucky. How did you find them, and who helped bridge sort of that relationship there?
Well, our first manufacturing run was actually done by a small factory here in Cincinnati. I knew of a factory in Paris, Kentucky, because I don't know if you guys ever knew Kentucky Textiles, the Shoemate family, Wayne Shoemate, they manufactured Speedo. They're now called Sacre, and they're a nonprofit. So initially our production level was too small for them. But after our initial production run and we saw that sales were going well, the factory in Paris agreed to start manufacturing for us. And then we were growing and looking for a second manufacturer. And I have a friend in the industry. His name is Dan Short. He's also an entrepreneur. And we worked together at Kentucky Textiles, and it was Dan who gave me Stacy's name. And at the time they were, I think, was it Bluegrass, Kentucky, Bluegrass? It was before they became Stitch. So it was just networking with a friend and former coworker in the industry. And then our business shifted a little bit. The Paris factory, because they're a nonprofit, they had to, 95% of their workforce had to be people with these either disabilities or someone who's in a rehabilitation program. And because our product's a little difficult to sew, they were struggling to keep our line staffed. So we decided that was no longer a good fit. So then we put all of our manufacturing with Stitch Kentucky. And I went down in the early days and worked myself on the factory floor with, you know, the sewers and the cutters and quality control to get everything right. So we were there in the very, very, very early days. I think they've been sewing for us now for 6 or 7 years. It's been a while.
Wow. Well, that kind of gives me a follow-up question to that. So how important was it to stay on top of or be hands-on with like quality control and things like that with a product? Just overall, how important do you think it is for a inventor, entrepreneur, startup, small business to have that kind of hands-on?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, no one has your vision, and quality for one person is different for another. And like I said, a lot of our products are not easy to sew, and stretch fabrics are not easy to work with. So it takes patience and just really having a plan and having a factory led by someone who understands and is committed to seeing your vision play out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't expect what you don't inspect. So
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great, and that's true for just every facet of business as well. So
yeah.
Any other questions from anyone?
I have another question.
Go for it.
I'm the one with all the questions, Beth.
Yeah.
My name is Eugenia. What about copycats? Have you had to fend off copycats?
You know, we've been pretty lucky, especially on our core product, the pocketed belt. Again, it is not, I look back on it and I think, how did we create this pattern that has this fold and this divider, and it has a shelf in the bottom because it needs depth? It is not easy. It is not an easy pattern to create, and it's definitely not easy to sew.
How long did it take to make one at Stitch Kentucky?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer. I've been there many times as they've sewn them, but I don't know from start to finish.
Stacy,
Yeah, that's a good question. But copycats, most other products in the market have zippers. There's a product called Spy Belt. There's a company, Nathan's Running Belt, but again, there's zippers with pouches. And there are a few more companies that make the tubular style belts that just fold over. But we've been really lucky. We really have not had anyone knock this product off.
Do you have any masculine component for your product?
Well, we do. I mean, we offer solid colors in the belt, and we do have some men who wear the product. It's just from day one, we just decided to really market to women because there was so much out there for men already. And, you know, when you're small and getting started, we just didn't want to split our time and our marketing budget trying to go after everyone and make it a truly unisex product. But my husband is one of our biggest fans. He's a teacher, and he doesn't like the clip-on things to your belt, and he wears his daily. So they are guy friendly, but we do tend to market to the female consumer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, Bev, thank you again. And one more
Yeah.
time, if somebody wants a bandy belt, where do they need to go?
Bandywear.com, BANDIWEAR.
BANDIWEAR.com. All right. Well, thank
Yes.
you again, Bev.
Thanks.
We really appreciate,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Glad we connected.
So, all right. Well, let's see. Do we have anything in the chat, Leo,
Not
or
really. We've
anything?
actually done a lot of good interference in
Yes.
this meeting, answering and with the comments and stuff.
All right, very cool, very cool. All right. Well, let's go around the room again. I know we did introductions, and let's let's start where we ended. Let's start with Jason. Jason, tell us a little bit about Kinetic, what you all can do, and what you all are up to lately.
Yeah, so thanks again, Don, for having us tonight and for all the folks here. It was great to meet you all. So, if you were to walk into any of the offices at Kinetic, you would see the word fiber, fiber, fiber everywhere. We know how that impacts the community. We know how it impacts the areas that we serve, and we're building fiber optic internet rapidly. So we've been at it for a while, and we're going to continue to do it. Just from a sheer volume perspective, as it stands today, there are 255,000 homes and businesses in Kentucky where we have fiber optic internet on the doorstep. So we encourage people to go to gokinetic.com, check us out, see if we're available. And again, that's for the residential side and the business side. So thanks again for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. GoKinetic.com.
GoKinetic.com.
All right. Well, Kurt, what do you got going on?
Oh,
I see some mini grips on the desk there.
yeah. I mean,
So-
you're one of two people. Either someone's asking you to help open something, or you're asking someone to help you open something. So if you have kids or parents, there's someone out there where, that mini grip is for them. Makes a great stocking stuffer. That's the best quarter of our year. And, it was made with love. It was made for my family members to start with. And, so we get great response on it. So if you're interested, check out myminigrip.com or look on Amazon.
Hold one up so everybody can see
Yeah.
it.
So we have the smaller one that's made to be portable, keep in your car,
I love that.
purse, backpack. Some people send it to school with their kids. And then we have the newer one or the larger one, which people were asking for bigger stuff. It's a little tougher.
Cool.
Works well in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. And last but not least, Drew.
All right. So I mentioned that I accidentally fell into starting a venture capital fund. And what is super exciting about that is, I was telling everybody about this before the show. It's called Jubilee Capital. I think that we all know that when we for a while, a bunch of people looked at the guy with the gray hair, or the lady with black hair, or the guy with the orange hair in Washington and said, oh, the answers are going to come from there. And the answers are not going to come from there. And the answers are not going to come from local government. Their answers are going to come from the people that do the work. That's where the solutions happen at, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So then you start getting into the investor circles very much. And there's kind of one model understood for investment. And there's two models. The first model, which is venture capital, says we're going to take a bunch of bets on a bunch of things. And then eventually one of those is going to be a unicorn. And that's how we'll pay everything off, right? First of all, those don't work out a whole lot. But more importantly, and what happens practically is we take 3 bets on one company or one idea. So this company's going to do it this way. This company's going to do it that way. This company's going to do it that way. And then we go through the rounds and this company turns out to be the winner. It's kind of like getting ahead. So we sell all of these companies into that company. And so it's kind of, for the folks that have been in the industry for a long time, it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. The other way you can make money is you can go and you can invest your money in the stock market, which just supports congressional profit margins and not insider trading, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And the other one is you can do private equity, which is I come in, I buy your company from you, I strip out all your management, I put it in my system, keep your name. And actually, if you're not paying attention, almost all of the small businesses, HVACs, lawn care, healthcare, they're all being bought up by private equity. So we used to be a land full of individual entrepreneurs, and now we're a land of people that have a job. And when you have a job versus an entrepreneur, you think about different things differently. So Jubilee Capital does something different. It gives folks the ability to put their capital where their conscience is, which is kind of cool. The time horizon, I don't have to pay off a venture capital guy that wants to make a 10x return. It's expressly for investors that are in for a 5 or 10-year horizon to build a great company that works. And part of the success metrics is how the health of an organization is how close the decision maker is to the consequence holder. So how do we get CEOs spending more than 120 hours a year, eyeball to eyeball to the people that they're making decisions for? How fast can we get people promoted up the ranks? Instead of how many companies can I acquire and strip, how many spin-off companies can I spin off? How many new owners can we make?
So it's the anti-version of what's been going on.
It is the
Yeah.
anti-version.
Bizarro capital.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have called it Bizarro Capital.
Why did you choose Jubilee?
So there's in the Old Testament, there's this concept called the Jubilee year. And so it's every 7 years, all debts are canceled. And in that Old Testament structure, your family was given a certain amount of land when you started. And then every 7 years, you have to return back to that land. Now, I'm not saying that we have to, I'm not proposing that that's how we run America. But what I am saying is, if that was the only land you ever got, nobody would put a Walmart on it. Right? Nobody would turn their family land into a dump. Nobody, like all of the problems that we have are because we live in a disposable land where we're like, oh, I got some of this, and now I can just lump all this bad stuff here, like lithium batteries, right? And then I'll just push it away from me and it won't be a thing. And that's a kind of a soulless version of capitalism.
Yeah.
And so Jubilee Capital says, what if we were all tied to the community that we lived in, and we activated the community money that was here instead of investing in Wall Street? What if we invested in Main Street? And
It's
and then,
holistic instead of compartmentalized. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I can have just a touch more time.
Go for it.
The cool thing is we talked about X prizes, and I'm just going to say the word X prize, and you're going to go Google it and find out about it. But the idea is instead of setting up a structure where people come to me as the venture capitalist and then I tell you you're a bad person or whatever, about a third of the company is devoted to setting up prizes where we say, how do we make clean water? And then this is what I mean by clean water. You know, there's sewage and there's desalination, and there's other things. Can you solve that problem? If you can, I'll give you some money. If you can solve this bigger problem, I'll give you some more money. Solve this bigger problem, I'll give you some more money. So now we activate all of this capital and all this innovation. So when you get to leadership is about one thing, and that's clearly describing the problem. And then inspecting that you did it. You get what you inspect, how much you expect.
Yeah.
So Jubilee Capital is out there saying, this is what the problems are. Who can solve it? And then the heroes, which is everybody on this call, they can say, I can solve that. And then we have some venture capital money that says, good, go solve it. So Jubilee Capital. Bizarro Capital. Man,
Bizarro
I'm
Capital.
literally dying.
See you later.
I just want bikini bread.
And there we go.
There
Bikini bread.
yeah. Love bikini bread.
So
That's going to have to be a thing.
So if you know an investor, because I'm raising funds right now. So if you know somebody that's like, listen, I'm tired of the way that we do money, connect me with them, because there's a better way to do money, and I cannot wait to unleash what that's going to unleash.
Yeah, but you don't want to give out your cell phone number on YouTube. But if they did want to contact you, what would be the best?
Probably drew@jubilee.capital. No .com, just .capital, because somebody else owns .com. And or drew@suttonleadership.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You'll find me pretty easy if you want to.
Yeah, if
There we go.
if it's not that hard to find you.
No, it is
On the
not that
internet.
hard to find me. Also, my hobby is shooting sports, so please find me. Just understand, set your own risk.
All right, great. Well, thank you all so much. Leo, any parting thoughts? Anything?
Nothing I can think of. I mean, I just hope everybody has a great weekend. This was phenomenal. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Bev. Thank you so much, everybody who joined us in the actual studio.
Absolutely.
It's been phenomenal.
And watch for news and announcements. If you have not signed up on kyinventors.org, you need to do that because we've got some news and announcements. It's going to be coming out. Our next open meeting, and go to our website if you want to know what that is. If you don't, is on August the 5th. And our next Inventor Friday, August the 8th. So stay tuned, watch your local listings. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a part of this and spending your Friday evening with us. And we will see you at the next meeting, workshop, or somewhere online. Good night.